Welcome back to the Taxi Research Institute. I'm your host, Li Yang. In the last episode,
We talked about how Japan uses an almost obsessive way to push the operational details of every taxi to the limit. After listening, many friends sighed. So, behind the order of Japanese taxis is such a strict regulatory system. But what I want to talk to you about today is not cold rules and data, but what is hidden in the cracks of these rules. Those things that can directly touch your heart. Details with warmth. Many people's first impression of Japanese taxis is probably expensive. For the same 1,000 yen, you can travel nearly 90 kilometers in India, 24 kilometers in Beijing, but in Tokyo, you can only go less than 3 kilometers. The trope of running in Japanese dramas comes from this. Even if the protagonist is in a burning hurry, they would rather run as fast as they can than hail a taxi. But when you actually sit inside, you will find, behind this high pricing, it is never about overcharging, but putting the spirit of hospitality into every tiny moment you can perceive, catching all your embarrassment from the first second you get in. Tourists taking a taxi in Japan for the first time, 9 times out of 10 make the same joke. Seeing an empty taxi stop, they reflexively reach out to pull the door, only to pull at thin air. Don't be embarrassed. It's not because you lack strength, but because the back door of Japanese taxis, starting from the 1964 Tokyo Olympics, has been designed as a fully automatic door. The driver gently presses a button in the driver's seat, and the door is opened. No passenger needs to lift a finger the whole time. The original intention of this design goes far beyond just convenience. In the early years, when there were no automatic doors, passengers often didn't pay attention and then opened the door abruptly when a car was coming from behind, or forgot to close the door tightly after getting out, driving away with hazards. But now, even if you are carrying large suitcases and holding a crying baby in your arms, you don't have to free up a hand to open the door, no matter how hard it rains. No matter how much stuff you have, you just step into the car. Once you are seated, the driver slowly closes the door. Even the risk of your coat getting caught in the door has been anticipated for you. If your luggage is a bit large, you don't have to ask. The driver will definitely get out first, walk to the trunk, and carefully help you secure your luggage, without letting you get any dust on you. The whole sequence is smooth and seamless, without any sense of deliberateness, just like it's his duty to do the invisible comfort and tacit understanding in the cabin. Stepping into the cabin of a Japanese taxi, the first thing you will notice is definitely the odorless cleanliness. The seats are always covered with smooth white seat covers. Around the frame, you can't find any flaws. On the floor mats, it's hard to see even a single hair. Many drivers, after finishing every trip, will use a lint roller to clean the back seat, replace the air filter regularly, and even place a small bottle of very light luxury fragrance in the corner. Not too strong to be overpowering, only leaving a faint hint of freshness. What's even better is, they never take it upon themselves to disturb you. If, after you get in, you only state your destination and lean back to rest with your eyes closed, most drivers will not make small talk to chat with you. There are even taxis designed specifically for socially anxious people, where Kuroko taxi drivers wear black throughout the trip, except for necessary route confirmation. They won't say a single extra word. You can handle your work in peace and quiet, staring into space. No need to force a conversation at all. But if you strike up a conversation with him, he will immediately switch to the most attentive guide mode. An experienced driver who has lived there for decades, with a living food map of the city in his head. You say you want to eat authentic Itame sushi. He can recommend a shop in the alley open for 30 years that is not on any travel guide at all. You say you want to find a walking path with cherry blossoms. He can tell you which path has the fewest people and the densest shade. He might even unlock the car to let you take a few more photos through the window. Once I took a taxi late at night from an izakaya in Kyoto, smelling slightly of alcohol. I was worried the driver would look displeased, but the gray-haired driver quietly rolled down the window. Just a small gap for ventilation, neither catching a cold from the night breeze, nor leaving the smell of alcohol in the car. When we were approaching the destination, he also softly reminded me of the steps. Get off slowly, don't trip. These details are never written into the service manual's implicit requirements, but every driver takes it for granted to provide the tailored exclusivity for special groups. Gentleness, the warmth of Japanese taxis. The most touching part is never the standardized service for ordinary passengers, but their willingness to put in the effort to care for those niche and rarely noticed groups with special needs. For pregnant women near their due dates, they launched labor taxi services. All drivers have received professional emergency care training. Cars are equipped with emergency kits and backup power, and even established a green channel with nearby maternity hospitals in advance. Once a pregnant woman has an emergency on the way, the driver can directly contact the hospital to prepare in advance, so families don't have to panic call on the road. Childcare services, specifically for families with kids. Taxis are even more considerate. Child safety seats are installed in advance, stocked with cooling patches, snacks, disinfecting wipes, and even cartoon drawing boards to keep kids quiet. If you go out alone with 2 or 3 kids, no need to struggle in the car with safety buckles. The driver has already set up all the equipment. Elderly care. Services for the elderly are even more detailed. When many elderly people with mobility difficulties go out, the driver will not only get out to help them, but also help carry groceries and walk you to your entryway after confirming you are safely inside before they turn around and leave. For elderly people in wheelchairs, special barrier-free vehicles can lower the ramp directly to let the wheelchair roll smoothly into the car without the family struggling to lift them in. Is a new wave growing in this old industry. You might think that such a rule-bound and detail-oriented traditional industry has long lost its innovative fire. Actually, it's quite the opposite. Today's Japanese taxi industry is using technology to give this decades-old warmth. Stronger Wings, Noemo, which officially entered the market last year, a group of tech experts from the mobile payment field, didn't start with flashy concepts, but first integrated 5 traditional taxi companies with over 1,400 vehicles and over 2,400 drivers, while solving the long-standing lack of successors and insufficient digitalization in the industry. While steadily working on the implementation of autonomous driving, their CTO said to the industry, "Autonomous driving has never been an unreachable future fantasy. What we want to do is make it a service that can truly support regional mobility." They signed cooperation agreements one after another in Osaka at that time. In the spring of 2026, large-scale practical testing has already begun. Vehicles equipped with cameras and sensors run in the city every day, collecting real road condition data, and plan to achieve commercial use of L4 autonomous driving by 2028. But their goal has never been to replace drivers with machines, but to use technology to free drivers from repetitive labor, allowing them to focus more energy on providing attentive service to passengers. The Onestop mobile app they developed, from hailing a car to mobile payment, connects the entire process so you don't have to wait on the roadside for a long time and can see the driver's location in advance. For remote rural areas, they are also gradually relaxing the deployment requirements for taxi offices, so that even in small villages with small populations, on-call taxis can always be maintained. You see, from the automatic doors of 1964 to the autonomous driving being implemented today, the Japanese taxi industry has traveled for decades. But the core that has never changed is that phrase engraved in their bones: not treating passengers as orders to be completed, but treating every pickup and drop-off as an encounter filled with sincerity. Well, that's all for this episode of TNXI Institute. In the next episode, we will talk about the real living conditions of Japanese taxi drivers, to see what lies behind this seemingly decent job, and how many untold stories are hidden. See you next time.